Hey, it's Moira again. Okay, I want to give you one more tip on helping to kind of clarify all the big dreams and projects and different businesses that you might have in mind. Maybe you want to write a book. Maybe you want to take a certification. Maybe you want to start a podcast or a mastermind, or you already have a coaching business. This is something that I think is so important to hear, and sometimes a little difficult to hear because it can feel like somebody's putting the brakes on you. And the last thing I want to do is ever put the brakes on somebody's dreams. But this is what's worked for me. It's the advice that I've gotten from some extremely high level CEOs. And that is one baby at a time, right? You want to put all of your energy, all of your time, all of your efforts into really launching and scaling one thing to the point where you have the systems and maybe the team in place that keeps that engine running, right? When I built my coaching business, I was all in on that business and very little else for years and years before I decided to write a planner, before I decided to write a journal. And when I decided to launch my podcast, I will tell you that it became the project of the year, right? And that is when I even got more clarity on, I love this idea. I love this concept of maybe smaller things being the focus for the year, right? If you're trying to build a giant coaching business, that might need to be your focus for 5 years. But if you're trying to launch smaller things, just try not to do it too soon. Try not to launch something before the thing that you have is really up and running and generating enough income to allow you some time freedom to step away, right? I think so many entrepreneurs that have that personality, we just want to do it all at once. And that's me, right? I want to do it all at once, but that is not proved to be successful for me. I can tell you that. And so I decided last year to launch my podcast. I also had all of these dreams and visions of all these other things I wanted to do. And I thought, no, I've just got to stay focused on the podcast. I've just got to make that my baby for the year, get this baby to the point where it's walking on its own, where it's doing its thing, where the team is in place, where the systems are in place, that it allows me the time to then step back a little bit because I've got the pieces in place. You know, when I launched the podcast for the first 6 months, and really that was the 3 months leading up to it, and then the 3 months after we launched, it was an insane amount of stress, time, energy, just confusion, trying to figure it all out. And then I can tell you that 12 months later, it's a walk in the park. Like, all I do is sit down with some amazing guests or record a podcast episode by myself. I shoot it off to my editor. They put it on all the social channels. Somebody, I have a graphics girl that does the images for stories. The system is in place, right? So the only time it really takes me for my podcast is about an hour a week, when before it took a ton of hours. And so that was up and running, right? And I saw that coming to fruition at the end of the year. So I decided, what is my project? What is the thing that I want to build, that I want to, scale in 2023? And so I decided to launch a mastermind. And I will tell you that I started working on that mastermind that I launched in February back in September. So there was hours and hours and hours every single week spent hiring people to help me put it together, coming up with the framework, coming up with the marketing plan, coming up with the launch plan, creating landing pages, creating a sales funnel, like creating all of these things, right? You can drag your feet and take forever getting projects off the ground, but you've got to understand that doing something well takes a lot of prep, and it's going to take all of your time and energy. And then once you launch, it's still going to take time and energy, right? There's other things I want to do, but this year I'm committed to growing and scaling and perfecting the mastermind. And I am not jumping to another project, which is hard till 2024, right? And it's exciting to think about what's on the horizon. It's exciting to think about adding one more wheel, one more project that kind of stacks on all of the others each year. And it allows me to go, okay, so yeah, I want to write a book. Yes, I want to create an academy. Yes, I want to create this and this and this and this. And there's 5 books I want to write. But if I allow myself just the freedom to look forward and say 1 a year, that makes it seem so much more doable to me, so much more manageable knowing that each year I get to focus solely on that one project. And like I said, depending on the project, that project could take 2 years to really scale. But until that part of your business is up and running and scaled and the team is in place and the systems are in place, then and only then should you pivot and move on to the next thing. And that's just my business advice. It's worked well for me. That's the business advice I've received from my mentors, and I hope it helps you.